Hey everybody. Now we have one of those all-star type of musicals that were made during the Second World War to help benefit the troops. The 1943 movie, Thank Your Lucky Stars. Now, since the billing for this movie was alphabetical order due to how big some of the stars were at the time, and not on how involved they actually were in this movie's plot, I'll try to list them according to their actual parts in the movie. We have Eddie Cantor, Yes, I know, I listed him twice on purpose. We have Dennis Morgan, Joan Leslie, Edward Everett Horton, and S.Z. Cuddles Sakal. Now, in this movie, we have Eddie Cantor playing a dual role as himself and Joe Simpson, a wannabe dramatic actor who can't find work due to his resemblance to comedian Eddie Cantor. Now, Mr. Farnsworth, Edward Everett Horton, and Dr. Slana, S.Z. Zakal, are putting on a wartime benefit with celebrity performers, and they want Dinah Shore for the show. There's just one problem. She's under contract to Eddie Cantor, and they can't get her without essentially getting him. So they reluctantly agree, and almost immediately regret it, as he takes over and does things his way. Which isn't a good way. Now elsewhere, we have wannabe singer Tommy Randolph, Dennis Morgan, and the aspiring songwriter Pat Dixon, Joan Leslie, who conspire to get Tommy into the show as a performer. They convince their friend Joe Simpson to impersonate Eddie Cantor while they get the real Eddie out of the way for a while. Now, as you can see from my description, the plot isn't this movie's strength, and quite frankly, I doubt it was intended to be. This movie was supposed to be a morale booster for the audiences at home during the war, and I still think it works in that fashion, at least it does for me. I would probably describe the movie as being part musical, although as usual for the times, the music doesn't really serve the plot, and part review, since some of the various stars are just doing various songs and dances. Although it's more like a talent show, since outside of the movie's leads, most of the stars are dramatic actors and actresses that are doing something completely out of their usual comfort zone. And speaking of the stars, there's such a wide assortment of celebrities in this movie that it could easily become a big discussion on just that. But I'll try to keep it short by mentioning only a few moments I particularly enjoy. Now, in spite of his prominent billing, Humphrey Bogart is really only on screen for a little more than a minute. But that is such a fun moment in this movie. While this movie works best when the viewers actually have an idea of what the various screen personas were for everybody at that time, some of them are self-explanatory, like Bogey's run-in with Dr. Slana. Seriously, the idea that a tough guy like Bogey looks weak against that teddy bear of a man is hilarious. Then there's Spike Jones and his City Slickers, which is an orchestra there with their rendition of Hachikornia. Seriously, I enjoyed watching that, and I just can't help but wonder why can't orchestras play that way anymore. It's so much fun to watch. I highly recommend looking it up on YouTube, at least, if you can find it. Now, most of the stars in this movie were trying to sing, but the only memorable dancing is provided by Alexis Smith and her two male partners during the song Good Night, Good Neighbor, in which she does quite a few impressive lifts. Of course, that's only just a few of the stars, and others such as Bette Davis, Errol Flynn, John Garfield, and many others are getting in on the fun. Also worth mentioning, he's one of Eddie Cantor's regulars from his radio show, Burt Gordon, also known as the Mad Russian, whose only line in this movie is his well-known catchphrase, "How do you do?" Now again, this movie was intended to be a morale booster, but it works, and I would indeed recommend it as such. The movie is available on Blu-ray and DVD from Warner Archive Collection and is 2 hours and 7 minutes in length. Well, that's all for now, so thanks for listening, everybody, and keep tuning in for more.